What time is it? Can you see? The public forum for March 12th is called to order at 6:48. This first speaker is Ann Ferris. Ann, please come forward and state your name and your address. Everyone's going to have 3 minutes. There's not a lot of people here, so it's going to be lax. But go ahead, Ann, Ms. Ferris.
Thank you very much. Ann Ferris, 133 Maple Street in Lordship. I've been on the beautification committee for 18 years, and I've never seen anything close to what's now happening to this committee. It seems that politics are here to stay. 4 hardworking members of the committee have been removed, and not one council member cared enough to discuss the circumstances of their removal with any beautification member or its co-chairs. For example, were these individuals doing a good job attending meetings or working on projects? There was no evaluation for their removal. They were just gone, and we're still waiting for answers, and these 4 individuals still have not received a letter stating they have been removed from the committee. This information came to us by email through another council person, and no person has ever been removed from this committee since its inception 20 years ago. Beautification committee members wrote to the council requesting that they keep the committee intact to no avail. The town council was adamant. After removing these 4 individuals, we were told by council that this was for political reasons and that the council made the decision and they have the last word. How democratic. I find it very disturbing that some town council members have used politics and gossip to exercise their personal vendettas. This immature behavior has destroyed a perfectly good committee. Over the 18 years I have been on the beautification committee, I have been touched by our members through good and sad times, made close friends and fond memories. This committee has done nothing wrong. All of the responsibility lies with the town council and their inability to work together, and for that I'm very sad. In your own way, council, you have ruined a beautiful committee that is impartial, fair-minded, and honest, making us all feel like pawns that are pushed around in a game of chess for gain. In closing, last year, Adam Brill, a member who was removed, was able to get the town of Stratford a grant for $2,000 from Aquarian, which was used to purchase 42 boxwood plants, which the beautification committee planted with the help of 15 people from Aquarian. And this year he was able to get us $2,000 to renovate the gazebo and add new plantings. And Gayle Murray, also removed from the committee, worked at Franklin School with the students designing gardens, deciding on kinds of flowers, and also getting the Franklin School sign repaired. But you, council, did not know this, as you decided to make your own decision and not discuss anything with our committee. Under all of these circumstances stated, I am resigning from the beautification committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ferris. The next speaker is Florence, K-O-K-R-U-D-A. Florence, please state your name and your address, please.
My name is Florence Arruda. I live at 118 Jefferson Street. I've been a member of the Beautification Committee for at least 10 years. Have enjoyed it, but I think now after 10 years that it's my time to go. So as of this evening, I am retiring. I have to say that this is one fantastic committee, hardworking and dedicated. And the town has been looking better and better with their efforts. And the best has yet to come with them. But after what has been going on for the last year or so, it's very upsetting. We were treated, I particularly have been treated like a nobody, but I honestly feel like a somebody. And I would hope that you would appreciate this committee going forward. So thank you, and good evening.
Thank you, Florence. The next speaker is Gayle Murray. Gayle, please come forward and state your name and your address, please.
Yes, good evening. My name is Gayle Murray, and I live at 756 Chickadee Lane in Stratford. And I want to thank the committee for being reinstated. However, I'm confused as to why I was never informed that I was deleted to begin with, or never reinstatement by letter as well. And I really need to have this in writing to make myself feel good. I cannot continue without something in writing as to when my commission ends and when it begins. Also, I need to know how was I chosen for deletion? What was the criteria? Who based what on what? I honestly don't understand how it was let to the public that 4 people were let go, without them being aware of it first, prior to making that notice public. I just don't understand how something of that nature happened, and I find that abhorrent. I think the behavior of the council was terribly rude, crude, and socially inept. Good manners are universal. It makes no difference who's giving them, taking them, accepting them. I honestly wish to remain on this committee because I want to continue my work with Franklin School. But I can also say that it's been very disappointing to be treated in this shabby manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Gayle. Next is Sylvia Martin. Sylvia, please come forward and state your name and your address, please.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Sylvia Martin. I live at 85 Corinthian Avenue here in Stratford, and I have been trying to get on the beautification committee since 1994 when I first moved to Stratford. It was on Wooden Road with, I think it was Angelo Stavola who started it, and Rick Gallardi. But since then, I finally came on 2 years ago, and I've enjoyed it, and my purpose was to beautify Stratford, to help my neighborhood, my community, people that didn't even know anything, that the beautification committee didn't even exist. They weren't aware. But since then, it seems like when this last incident that happened, a lot of the committee members, we were all very hurt about how it happened, why it happened, who made the decision, how do we get informed, who informs us, instead of by just a hearsay rumor mill stuff. And we just wanted to do a lot of good work. Myself, with the committee, want to just get our hands dirty and beautify where we live at. And that's it.
Thank you, Sylvia. Gerald Gray, please come forward and state your name and your address.
Good evening, I'm Gerald Gray of 29 Shoreline Drive. And my statement tonight is, although I am pleased that Stratford Star published my letter to the editor in this week's current issue, I am disappointed that it was very much amputated, edited, and stripped of all the expository information I included. As the constraints of a 350-word limitation bear hard upon this letter writer as they did upon George Mulligan, I struggle to meet the limitation and still express as much as I can. Since the letter was so edited down, I am tonight going to read here a full-sized version of what I would have liked the Star to print. This one even expanded upon from my original letter to Star, and this one admittedly containing far more than that 350 words. Over the past 4 years, I have become outspoken re the predatory victimization of Stratford residents, citizens, and visitors by the powerful interested parties of Stratford government, and concurrently I have frustratedly encouraged people of Stratford to become more participatory in Stratford governmental affairs. One issue which does get much attention and participation is the James Farm Road affordable housing issue. As Star reported, over 50 people showed up at Town Hall to voice their opposition to the plan proposed by the developer's attorney, Stephen Bellis. While this active participation is exactly what I have been calling Stratford people to, in this particular case it is somewhat misdirected. If people of Stratford go to our Connecticut judicial website and look up the cases of 500 North Ave LLC and the developer whom Attorney Bellis is representing in Bridgeport Superior Court, which is headed by his wife, Judge Barbara Bellis, they would see multiple listings of cases related to this matter, each of which has the town attorneys, the town contracted attorneys appearing in these court cases, as well as the Stratford probate judge names Kermay and Alberg also involved. These cases are where the real action of these James Farm Road affordable housing issues are being worked. Yet I was the sole non-participant to show up to witness the February 16th Bridgeport Superior Court hearing in the case 500 North Ave LLC versus Jay Hibansky of the Town of Stratford Zoning Commission. This is where we can see what the Stratford machine is really about. I watched Attorney Bellis call his side's witness, probate Judge Alberg, to the stand to testify. That alone was a real exposure to what is going on Rita Bellis' clients, these being the infamous team of Curcio Owen. As probate judge Alberg testified that in his personal law practice history, he represented Curcio and he represented Owen in their ownerships of the two adjoining properties, which they have now combined to create the expanded property upon which their attorney Bellis is attempting to get approval for affordable housing. Most importantly, I watched as attorney Florek et al. Racked up more and more fees for the professional services of parsing tiny details in this instance version of this matter, racking up the sort of attorney fees for which attorney residents are paying millions of dollars in legal fees and by which they will not benefit. As I watched during recess, the two supposed opponents of Team Bellis Owen Alberg and Team Town of Stratford with town contracted attorney Florek and Son congenially chat, what was apparent to me was that this is all smoke and mirrors. The town's representing attorneys are not really opposing this plan. They are all already accepting of the affordable housing development. I saw that they are in Judge Barbara Bellis' Bridgeport Superior Courthouse in multiple incarnations of this same issue under multiple differently named and differently captioned titles, engaging in their endless repeated court hearings for purpose of parsing of more and more little details, and racking up more fees for their services of supposedly representing Town of Stratford. Like Stratford's Justice Warrior George Mulligan and Connecticut native son Ralph Nader have reminded us, the attorneys are really representing their own self-interest, their own primary motivation, as they keep cases churning and churning in court as their wallets get fatter and fatter by doing so.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next is Linda Palermo. Linda, please state your name and your address, please.
Linda Palermo, 46 Vaught Place, Stratford, 06614. Did I write it correctly, Mr. Connor?
Yes.
I believe we used to have an ethics commission. Do we know if we still have the ethics commission?
We do, ma'am.
And who are the members of the ethics commission?
Offhand, I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
No, because they're appointed by the mayor, and they were reappointed by Mr. Harkins before he left. I know one or two of the people, but there is an ethics committee.
Okay. Well, the reason I bring up ethics commission, I'm somewhat disturbed. You were scheduled for a meeting at 6:30, public forum. I came into the room. Mr. Connor, you were seated in a chair here, having a meeting with these people. I don't see that to be on the agenda. And frankly, it's quite insulting because we're all supposed to be treated equally, and we're all supposed to have a say in the issues as they relate to the town. Now, I did hear Mr. Brill's name. Mr. Brill, in my opinion, is an exceptional person. He is open and above board, and he is very honorable. To hear somebody knock him disturbs me a great deal. He's a fine gentleman. The latest thing that this council has done, or the first thing that they did, they're not answering the questions that the people bring to the public forum. I don't feel that's fair to the citizens. We pay taxes just like you do. There may be some that don't, and they just live out of town and say, I live here. But the fact of the matter is, I am looking into the issue. I do believe there might be some FOI violation here, and if there is, everybody knows me, I will take action. And the reason I also raised the issue of the Ethics Commission, I spearheaded an investigation when there was a person sitting on that, on housing, who had to be removed because she said she was not working for an attorney and she was collecting quite a handsome amount of money. So she had to step down. It went to public hearing. It was very interesting, and I was very happy to be responsible for spearheading that. So in the meantime, I will be looking into the issue about FOI, people not getting responses to the questions, having an illegal meeting over here. True, their issues are probably important, but you know what? They were so important, they should have been shared with the rest of the people in the room. Thank you for your time, and Mr. Brill is A-OK.
Thank you, Mrs. Palermo. And Mr. Paradis, Frank Paradis, please come.
Does this microphone work? Yeah. First of all, I'm Frank Paradis. I'm 798 East Broadway. As I said last month, the awkwardness of that makes it difficult. I don't want to bend over. I have nothing. Yeah, so thank you, if I may utilize this microphone as well. Last month, somehow, our public forum was not recorded. I sincerely hope the technician is there recording tonight and that our public forum gets recorded and properly noted. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for your service. But as Ms. Palermo said, it's a painful thing to know that whatever we say here doesn't get addressed. And that's an important issue. It isn't just an issue of taxpayers, it's a safety valve. It allows the people to have a say, to feel that their needs are being heard and could be met. It's the idea that the government will listen. What are the wonderful things that you love about this town was something on Facebook today. And one of the things I loved about this town when I came here 5 years ago was the idea that people could come here in an open forum and address their government in an intimate setting, in a beautiful setting, and have it recorded and then put on the town website. It is an amazing act of transparency and openness. It is democracy. It's messy. It's contentious. It's loud. It's abrasive. It's sometimes a waste of time. Some people don't understand separation of powers. Some people don't understand that you don't have much to do with the legislative branch of government. I get it. I know a bit about civics. Only taught it for about 30 years. Again, the issue is simple, that if people take the time to come here to address you, whatever their issue is, it begs the need to say, give us some minutes at 8 o'clock. I used to come, the event would end, and a lot of people would leave, and I understood that to be rude. If I've made a statement before you, I would wait till 8 o'clock, because I wanted very much to hear what every individual had to say regarding whatever was said. I thought that dialogue was part of what made this town, what made our democracy in this town really, really function. I'm here tonight probably for the last time. What's the sense? Again, folks, I don't come here just to hear myself talk. I want a dialogue. If I bring an issue before you, I would like very much. Yes, there's things about the appointments that haven't taken place. People who get rolled over and over again. People whose terms have expired and yet they still sit. Those are serious issues, folks. Again, I don't blame you. There's a limited pool of people who are going to volunteer to help this town. There are serious issues when somebody, however, holds too much. Indulge me just a moment, sir. I recognize that there aren't people jumping up and down for most commissions. I mean, the Shellfish Commission, I don't know nothing about shellfish. I don't live near Roosevelt Forest. But for one individual to sit as the head of multiple commissions is not healthy. It gives a bad impression. I'm not impugning him as a human being or whatever he brings to it. But there's also a lot of people who would volunteer and could volunteer. And we should try to the best of our ability, and if I'm guilty of this, please forgive me, the partisanship needs to stop at this level. We're neighbors. We need to work together. We're all on a little boat together, and if we could all row in unison, we would probably get to our destination better. Respectfully, thank you. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paradis. Before we adjourn, is there anyone who didn't sign up and wants to speak? If not, meeting is called to adjournment at 7:07. Thank you.